This chapter directly continues from the previous chapter. Please ensure you follow the web series chronologically. All the links will be provided in the description below. Thank you. The House of Kuru, Part 1, Chapter 7. Father, please meet Satyavati, my new stepmother, puffed the proud Bhishma, standing in front of his father, the great king Shantanu. Shantanu was taken aback. How did the mighty Bhishma know about Satyavati, let alone bring her back as the would-be wife? What is going on, son? Said the king Shantanu, worried his son may have done something rather rash. Father, said Bhishma, all my life I have wanted to serve you, and the only way I could see fit was by uniting you with your love, said the well-minded Bhishma. Silly boy, do you not know what the consequences of your actions are? You cannot ascend the throne of Hastinapura. You have no desire to be the next emperor of this great land. You have acted far too rashly, my son, scolded Shantanu. My dear father, it is my greatest desire to serve you, not the enjoyment of the throne. I am far more pleased serving you and your kith and kin as the attendant to the throne of this kingdom than to rule it. Please, father, do not refute my desire to serve you. Please accept the hand of Satyavati and allow her to rule by your side as the queen of the empire, implored the sweet-natured Bhishma. Shantanu's heart melted and tears formed on his hardened face. With great reluctance, knowing the consequences of his desire, he took the hand of Satyavati. As soon as he felt the hand of the beautiful maiden, he could no longer withstand his emotions. Satyavati should be his son's wife. Now, fate has sealed his destiny to become his stepmother. Son, you have taken a great pain to serve me. You have renounced the throne of Hastinapura, and not only that, you have renounced all filial affection as well. This is too great a feat. For this I shall impart a secret I have obtained through years of severe austerities. I had obtained a boon from the god of death that I shall choose the time of my death. For such a great sacrifice on your part, my sweet loving child, I bestow this boon upon you, that death cannot come near you unless you demand it, said the great emperor of Hastinapura. The dutiful son of Shantanu bowed low and humbly accepted his father's boon with joy. Upon accepting the boon, Shantanu mentioned, my son, a life without a wife is but empty and hollow. I understand if you wish to depart for the heavens this very moment, but I will be heartbroken the moment you leave me, said the mighty emperor of Hastinapura, as he heaved into the throne. But the loving son of Ganga held his hand and said, Father, the greatest glory for a king is to die on the battlefield. I am born to the warrior class of men, and I will, as long as there is life in me, go on to live as the king's guard. I will guard any king who sits on this lion throne with my life, and the only way my life will escape it is when I am no longer able to guard the king from certain death. You have my word, said the grand and mighty Bhishma. Nobility is defined by you, my son. You take oaths only to serve the empire and her people. May you live a long and noble life, said the emperor of Hastinapura. Immediate preparations were carried out for the royal marriage between the beautiful Satyavati and the great emperor of Hastinapura. No expense was spared, and Bhishma personally took on the responsibilities of ensuring the success of the wedding ceremony. After all, it's not every day your father marries your stepmother. He strutted around, ensuring all the priests were chanting the appropriate hymns, the servants were attending to his stepmother, the guards were patrolling the entrances, the cooks were busy with pots and pans. All in all, the wedding was a tremendous success. Bhishma could not have been happier. He was instrumental in making his father's wish come true. It came at a heavy price, but that mattered little to him, and he was happy knowing that his father's wishes were met. The newly married couple enjoyed a period of marital bliss. In time, Satyavati gave birth to a boy, named him Chitrangada. Soon the royal house was blessed with another son, named Vichitravirya. Both the boys were the apple of the eye for everyone in the royal palace. Bhishma loved his two brothers and doted on them often, like an overprotective father. Satyavati and Shantanu would spend hours playing with the two children. The parents loved the children with all their heart. Unfortunately, within a few years, King Shantanu died. The death of Shantanu was a terrible shock to the kingdom. No one saw it coming. The king was playing with the children, and all of a sudden he collapsed with a large thud on the ground. Satyavati was aghast as she saw her lord fall and ran to him. She howled in sorrow and dejection. She never thought that the king of the realm, the protector of the entire regions of Hastinapura, would ever face death, but alas, death is very capricious in its nature, and it decided to claim the life of the mighty King Shantanu, especially since he was no longer protected by the boon of deciding when to die. Bhishma fell from his chair when he heard the news and came running to the scene to find his stepmother drenched in tears and two small children crying next to the body of the king. Bhishma's eyes filled with tears. Even though he was the king's guard, he could not protect him from death. What is the use of such celestial weapons and mastery in the art of warfare when one cannot ward off death? Death is the only certainty for all men. He was speechless. He knelt beside his father, while Satyavati had swooned and fainted. The two children were each hugging one leg of the king and sobbing. Destiny hit Bhishma hard. Who will now take the reins of the empire? Who will now take the caretaker role? Bhishma, said Satyavati, rule this nation as the king and regent till my children are ready. Bhishma took yet another oath. I will only rule in the regency of Chitrangada until he is ready to take the throne. I will rule it on his behalf, said the wise and mighty Bhishma. And so began the just rule of the son of Ganga. The empire prospered and wealth increased among the population. Peace was at place, as no one dared to invade Hastinapura while the powerful son of Ganga ruled it. Months passed to years, and soon Chitrangada grew to be a sporty young man. He was well versed in both statecraft and warfare. He was tutored by the legendary Bhishma himself. Unfortunately, this also gave him an overestimated ego. He would be quick to lose his temper and regret his actions. Chitrangada was a mighty warrior, no less. The empire of Hastinapura, made up of 53 princely states, was perfectly subjugated, with no one daring to rebel under the iron fist of both Bhishma and his stepbrother Chitrangada. One day, while Chitrangada was out hunting, he came across a wild deer. He pursued it for some time before finally hunting it down. At that very moment, he came across a Gandharva. Gandharvas were a class of mystical elves with extraordinary powers. The Gandharva approached him and said, "What are you doing here, human? This is my land. You have no right or permission to hunt in my land. Leave immediately, and I will spare your life." "How dare you threaten me? I am the son of the land of Bharata, the scion of the mighty empire of Hastinapura, you pathetic Gandharva. Flee now, and I shall spare your futile and worthless life. It's of tremendous fortune that you caught me in a charitable mood, or else you would have already been on the way to the abode of Yama," roared the angry Chitrangada. "It is one thing to offer resistance, it is another to offer it with insult." The Gandharva was not pleased. "I have heard of you, Chitrangada, son of Shantanu, but I am also called Chitrangada. Do you not know that there is a truce between your kingdom and mine? Leave at once, and I will spare your life," said the Gandharva. There is only room for one Chitrangada in this entire world. You belong in the world of Yama, said the son of Shantanu, and he raced on his horse, blowing his conch as a declaration of war. The Gandharva did not need to be told twice. He grabbed his mace and roared into the battle, blowing wildly on his conch. The match was even. Both warriors clashed with their maces and steeds, and in what was a brilliant battle of maces, the Gandharva utterly destroyed the scion of the empire. With a blow to the head, he annihilated the son of Shantanu. Chitrangada fell down with a loud thud, and his face, completely mushed with bone and blood, splattered all over the battleground. The Gandharva then rode his entourage and proceeded to attack them, when they all surrendered unconditionally. The Gandharva, also named Chitrangada, commanded them to take the corpse and leave the battlefield and never return. Obeying the command with complete acceptance, they fled to carry the information to Bhishma. Bhishma, upon hearing the death of Chitrangada, declared war on the Gandharva and rode to the very land where he was slaughtered. Sure enough, the Gandharva appeared through the bushes and asked, "Who dares to enter my realm?" "It is I, Bhishma, guardian of Hastinapura, protector of the realm. I am told you committed the regicide of the crown prince. You have committed a crime in the realm, and I am here to take you to justice," roared a terrible Bhishma. Rage filled his face. "Wait, O powerful Bhishma. Hear my side," said the Gandharva, fully aware of Bhishma's capacity to inflict brutal damage. "I was patrolling my realm, and there was a truce between the kingdom of Hastinapura and my land, which your brother should have known well. I advised him to leave peacefully, yet he chose war. I did what warriors are trained to do. We had a fair fight, in which he lost. If you attack my kingdom, then prepare for war from my people," said Chitrangada. Now Bhishma thought this was just an action by the Gandharva. He thought it was a reasonable action as well. He asked around to the entourage of the son of Shantanu, and they all agreed that the scion of the empire had an opportunity for peace, yet he refused to accept it. Bhishma had no choice but to concede defeat, as the war was not started by the Gandharva, but by the foolhardy prince. Fighting with the Gandharva would bring an unfair reason to run to war. This is against the code of virtue, and hence Bhishma nodded crudely and rode back to Hastinapura with the news of the king's death. As soon as the kingdom heard of the death of the Chitrangada, fear enveloped the people. Chitrangada was killed with effortless ease by a Gandharva. Bhishma did not seek vengeance. Was Bhishma scared? The people of the realm were scared. Sensing unrest, Bhishma quickly made arrangements for the crowning of Vichitravirya, the younger brother of Chitrangada. He started the nationwide propaganda of Vichitravirya's military prowess and might of arms. Vichitravirya had no time to mourn about the sudden death of his elder brother. He was both shocked and scared, but took on the burden of kingship with honor. Under Bhishma, he too began administering the kingdom. He was far better than his brother. He was a patron of the arts, and he promoted a lot of poetry and paintings. He built lots of temples for the gods, and the people became happier and wealthier. Their faith in the royal bloodline was restored rapidly. Vichitra was both warlike, but also sensitive and empathetic to the common man. There was, however, one small snag. He kept coughing. Bhishma began questioning the young prince. "Dear Vichitra, why are you constantly coughing?" prodded a curious Bhishma one morning, as the morning worship was completed. "It's nothing, dear brother. I have been a little ill lately, and this cough is just a little more desperate. I shall soon fight it, fear not," said the scion of the empire. Yet Bhishma had a suspicion of a deadly disease known as consumption. Consumption was rare in the land of Hastinapura, and he must have picked it up while he was on his last patrol. The very next day, Bhishma quickly made an appointment with the best physicians in the realm, and his worst fear was attested. "We regret to tell you, Your Majesty, but based on the symptoms of what is presented, it is undeniable that the scion of the empire is indeed afflicted with the deadly disease of consumption. He does not have long to live, I'm afraid. The news of the prince's health will spread like wildfire," thought Bhishma. "This will be kept a secret. There will be no mention of this to any living soul. Is that clear?" If anyone dares to speak of this, I will personally slaughter their family, kith and kin before I proceed to slaughter each and every physician in the apothecary, thundered the towering mighty Bhishma, and all the physicians trembled in agreement before him about the whole morbid affair. Having threatened every one of the physicians in the apothecary, Bhishma then ensured their silence and made his way back to the palace of Hastinapura and began pacing on what to do next. I hope you liked today's episode of The House of Kuru. If you have not already, please subscribe to this channel and like this video so that you will be notified every time a new video is uploaded. Thank you.